The laugh hit me like a slap. Someone shouted across the crowded office hall, "So, is your wife single tonight?" And the room erupted. Glasses clanked, music dipped, and every face turned toward us. I felt heat rise up my neck, but I forced a calm smile, the kind you practice in the mirror for moments like this. My wife froze beside me, her eyes darting away. That second stretched tight like a wire about to snap. I didn't yell, I didn't curse. I leaned forward, lifted my drink slightly, and prepared one cold sentence that would shatter the noise into silence. We'd been married 5 years, both working exhausting schedules. I handled logistics at a shipping firm. She was a marketing manager at a growing startup. Lately, she'd been networking late, coming home after midnight, carrying a faint scent of cologne that wasn't mine. I trusted her because trust feels easier than suspicion, until it doesn't. Money had been tight after we moved apartments, and I was picking up extra weekend shifts. She insisted I attend this party to show unity, wearing the navy dress I bought her last anniversary. I wanted to believe tonight would reset us, not break us. At home, routines had thinned into polite exchanges. We ate dinner while scrolling on separate screens. She guarded her phone like a secret diary. Once I reached for it to check a map, and she snapped, "Don't." We apologized, blamed stress, kissed, and repeated the cycle. 2 weeks earlier, I'd seen a notification flash. Room 312, ready. She said it was a client meeting code. I let it go, because I didn't want to be the jealous husband. Still, a knot formed in my stomach. The party promised champagne and speeches, but I carried unease like a hidden bruise. Her office culture was loud, full of jokes that pushed boundaries. I'd met her boss, Victor, twice. Charming smile, expensive watch, and a hand that lingered too long on shoulders. He liked to mentor after hours. My wife said it helped her career. I told myself ambition wasn't betrayal, but the stakes were high. We were saving for a down payment, planning for a child. If something was wrong, it threatened everything. I promised myself I'd observe quietly tonight. No scenes, no accusations, just facts. That promise felt noble at the entrance, and naive once the music started. Inside, I noticed patterns. Victor hovered near my wife, offering drinks, laughing too loudly at her jokes. She mirrored his energy, touching his arm when she spoke. I checked the time, 9:42 p.m. Another coworker whispered to a friend and glanced our way. My phone buzzed with a bank alert. Someone had tried to charge our joint card at a boutique across town. I texted my wife, "Did you buy something?" She replied, "No, glitch." A minute later, Victor's phone lit up, and he smirked. My stomach tightened. Glitches don't wink at you. I stepped outside to breathe. The cool air steadied me. I opened our shared calendar. Conference prep offsite appeared every Thursday evening for months. Her company didn't hold offsites weekly. I opened the shared tablet app we use for grocery lists. A deleted note restored from trash read, 312, don't be late. My hand shook, not from anger yet, but from clarity coming together piece by piece. When I returned inside, the laughter was louder. Someone had started a game, and my wife was suddenly in the center, spinning a bottle for dares. Victor cheered far too eagerly. The bottle landed on her. A guy shouted the question about her being single. The room roared. I watched her hesitate for a split second, the moment where truth could have saved us. She laughed nervously and said, "Depends who's asking." That line cut deeper than any confession. The crowd buzzed, hungry for drama. I remembered the boutique charge, the room number, and Victor's grin. The puzzle locked into place. I walked forward, not to fight, but to finish. My voice stayed calm because storms are quiet at their center. The room leaned into silence, curious and waiting. Before speaking, I took one step closer and looked at Victor. "Nice watch," I said softly. "Matches the receipt from Blue Harbor Hotel." His smile flickered. My wife whispered, "What are you doing?" I ended the guessing. Phones lifted. Someone muttered, "Oh no." I raised my glass again and let the room settle. "She isn't single," I said. "She's married to me, and she's been meeting Victor in room 312 every Thursday since April, paid with our joint card." The effect was instant. Music cut off. Laughter died mid-breath. Victor turned pale. My wife dropped her drink. Someone gasped, "Is that real?" I showed the boutique alert and the hotel charges on my phone. "You told me it was networking," I added calmly, "but it was secrecy." The room felt too small. Victor stammered, "This is private." "You made it public when you laughed," I replied. My wife reached for my arm. "Please, not here." "You chose here," I said, stepping back. Faces stared. Some angry, some ashamed, some recording. The HR director approached Victor. "We need to talk," he protested, but the evidence was already spreading. The crowd parted like water. My wife cried, repeating, "It meant nothing." "Meaningless doesn't erase repeated choices," I said quietly. I walked out before security arrived. Outside, my phone filled with messages. Apologies, questions, shock. My wife called 12 times. I didn't answer. At 10:17 p.m., Victor was escorted out. A coworker sent the photo. At 10:23, HR emailed about an internal investigation. I sat in my car, heart heavy, but clear. When my wife finally reached me, she said it was a mistake. "Mistakes don't book rooms every week," I replied. Silence followed. It felt cleaner than any argument we'd had. I packed essentials into a duffel bag. She arrived later, mascara strained. "I'll quit," she said. "I'll fix this." "When were you planning to stop?" I asked. She had no answer. We reviewed finances at the kitchen table, like strangers. Rent, savings, the down payment fund, now bruised by hotel charges. I transferred half to a separate account and documented everything. "I'm staying with my brother," I said. She nodded, defeated. For the first time, I watched consequences take shape, not as threats, but as doors closing. The next week was paperwork and quiet progress. I met a lawyer, filed for separation, and requested repayment for misused funds. HR confirmed Victor was suspended pending termination. My wife was placed on unpaid leave. She sent long apology texts. I replied only to practical matters. Friends chose sides awkwardly. Some said I was cruel for exposing her publicly. I disagreed. It wasn't cruelty, it was truth. I focused on routine. Gym at dawn, oatmeal breakfast, early nights. Healing, I learned, is built from boring habits done daily. 3 weeks later, we met to sign documents. She looked smaller, humbled. "I wish you had confronted me in private," she said. "I wish you had been honest in private," I replied. We followed the terms we agreed on. I kept the apartment. She moved closer to work. The bank refunded part of the fraudulent charges after their review. Victor was fired. The process slowly faded. What remained was clarity. I wasn't perfect, but I wasn't complicit either. When we parted, she said, "I hope you find peace." I answered, "I already did." The moment I chose truth over comfort. Now, months later, I share this story because silence creates illusions. That night taught me that restraint is powerful when paired with evidence, and dignity doesn't require shouting. If you ever find yourself in a room where people are laughing at your expense, remember you're allowed to end the joke with facts. I rebuilt slowly. A new job role, new routines, new boundaries. Trust will return someday, but not with value. My final lesson is simple. When someone asks if your partner is single, answer with the truth, even if it feels cold.